Welcome. The background may have changed. We are in a new workshop, but it is the same content. Today we are going to build a herb planter. Let's go. So as always, I like to start with a sketch. So the general plan is triangle each end, like so, another triangle that end, and then we're going to attach them with some guttering along there, and then we'll probably have to put a couple of 2x4s just to support it all. But that's the general idea. Okay, our first job is going to be the two end triangles. I know I want them roughly 800 along the bottom by probably about 120 going up. So what I'm going to do first is roughly cut the lengths I want, lay them out on my table, and then that'll give me the angles. With something like this, you could work it all out mathematically, draw it all on CAD, etc. But for me, it actually takes a long time. I'm quite a practical person, so I like to sort of make it up in situ and work out the angles. So my first job is to find halfway. This here is my bottom piece. I'm going to line it up at the end of my workbench here and here. I know that is square. So what have we got? 78, so half 78, 35, 39. So halfway is going to be 39. So I'm going to mark halfway on here. I'm then going to mark halfway on my workbench. Which is there. I'm then going to try and line everything up with how I want it to go. So let's line the bottom up. Here we go. So I'm just lining up this bottom edge with the bottom edge of the piece there. Here we go, like so. And then I'm going to line up the top with my mark. So if you can see this here, change the angle. So my mark is here. So the top of the wood here is going to go exactly in line with that mark. There we go. So the centre line of my bottom piece of wood is there. And same there. Let's see if I can carry on. So the bottom piece, the centre line is going to run through there, like so, and then all the way down to the bottom piece. So what I need to do now is a nice straight level, line up with the centre piece down the bottom, centre line at the top, mark it out like so, down the bottom here, so down the bottom here I'm then going to put the straight line on and mark along the bottom there. And then finally, on the bottom piece here, I'm just going to mark that angle. So that should give us everything we need. So on the upright piece, I've got the top angle marked and bottom. All I need to do now is cut two of those for the two sides. And then the bottom piece I've drawn on there. So that gives me the angle I need. And then we just need to cut it into the next end. So I'm going to keep the carpentry nice and simple on this. All I'm going to do is put two nice big 100mm screws through here to screw the top together. Like so, one each side, nice and strong. So off camera, because I forgot to press record, all I've done is I've screwed through here into the bottom piece, so the side into the bottom piece. I've used 150mm timber lock screws, so nice big long secure ones. There we go. And we have our first triangle. All we need to do now is to make another one. And as if by magic, we now have 2 triangles. So these are going to be the ends of our planter. The next job is to work out how wide we want it. I think I'm probably going to make it under 120 centimetres wide. That is mainly so it can fit on a pallet. If I did it any longer, it would hang over the end when I ship it in on a pallet. So if you do it 120, for me, it quite happily fits on a pallet. But for you guys at home, you know, if you're making it at home, you can make it however long you want. There we go. So I've cut my 3 braces supports at 100. So that'll mean 100 plus that, which is 10, 110 mil, 110 centimetres, apologies. So the main width mine is going to be 110 centimetres, which gives us a little bit of play. But these you can cut to whichever length you want to do yours at. So what I'm going to do now is get my 2 triangles, one on the end here. And then with these, I think I'm going to do one there, one there, and then I think I'm going to screw one up there, and that should be super strong and stable. For this job, I'm just going to use these 100mm stainless steel screws. Make sure you do stainless or they will rust away and react with the treated timber. But yeah, these should do the job. You don't need to do anything more than that for these. What I'm going to do with the top brace is if I put it in that way, which is what I was going to do, so that way on, the join will be over the join of here, and I'm very strong. So instead I'm going to turn it 90 degrees and pop them in that way, and that way I can get 2 good screws either side, and that should hold the top together as well, so it should do a multi-purpose. So I'm just going to mark out where I want it. There we go. There we go. Well, check it, stick it on your free hands, but once you get one through in, just hold yourself. You have to do perfect, try and get in the middle. Yeah, that's it. Okay, now do this end. And one more each. That is our basic frame all done. So I don't think the video is very good on this top piece, but you can see how I've put it horizontal, so 4 inches there and 2 inches there. And you see how nicely now it spans a 2 piece of wood. If I did it upright, I'd have to screw right on that joint, but now it's spanning that joint there, so it's giving extra strength there. And the bottom, I've just inset them a little bit. You could put them right on the end, but I think inset will look nicer. So that's our basic frame. Okay, like many products, when we design on the hoof, we come up with an issue. So what I was going to use is these brackets here. And I'm just going to fix them like so, but who can spot the issue? Yeah, the guttering is going to be an angle. Ideally, it needs to be there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some little spacers. If we can remember from earlier on, these were 26 degrees. So I think all I need to do is cut a little piece of wood there, angle of 26 degrees, like a little shim, and we should be able to get that out. So then the guttering lay straight. I mean, I don't see a problem with that, but I think it will look better if it's like so. Okay, so that was the issue. So all I've done is I've cut a whole load of those on my miter saw. That there is 26 degrees. So now we should just be able to plonk him on there, screw that through. There we go. And that now sits lovely and horizontal. So this is actually for a customer, and what they want is they want the guttering on one side. On the other side, we can do some shelves. Thinking about it, I think probably 1, 2, 3, maybe not one down the bottom because it's going to a score. I don't want it to get sort of kicked off, so I might just do 1, 2, 3, like so. That looks about right. I'll just mark that up. Yeah, that gives us a rough idea, and then we can measure it out. Find my pencil. So from the top, if we go 15, no, that won't work. Yeah, we'll go 15, then we'll gap it 20, and then we'll gap it another 20, 10, 20 like so. So our 3 are going to go there, 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 and there. Maybe a bit bigger gaps. So let's try that gap 20. Let's try a gap of 30. So that should be us to 45. And then 40, 75. No, 80. No, gap of, what we're doing back, gap 30, so 75 there. There we go. So now I've got a gap of 30. Let's try that. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I think that'll look about right. Yeah, and that should let enough water get to each. Problem is, you're doing too close, I don't think enough water's going to get in. So yeah, I quite like that space, and it looks about right to me. Transfer those marks to the side. So what's it? 15, 45, 75. 15, 45, 75. There we go. And with these, because they're only small, the likelihood is they're going to crack when I screw them in. So what I'm going to do with these is to pilot hole them. If I've got a pilot hole somewhere around here, here we go. Let's find the drill. Here we go. So just a couple of pilot holes, and that'll stop them cracking. And then we're going to put it on like so, on mark, and screw through. These screws are probably a little bit long, but they'll do the job. Don't drop it. And again, careful not to tighten it up too far, it will split the wood steel, even the pilot hole. Stand aside. There we go, so we now got some lovely uprights. We can attach our guttering brackets to. There we go, now you can see what I mean by they've been upright. And now our gutter brackets, was it nice upright too? I hope I'm in frame. I'm going to bend down for this one. So you can see how now my guttering bracket's going to fit on there. What I'm going to fix them with is these, some decking screws. I always like to use decking screws. They're relatively cheap and they are designed to be outside. So I don't think we should have any problems. So I'm going to put 2 in each. I'm going to line this up with the top on each bracket, so I know that it's always in the same place. There we go. And the trick is not to do these up too tight. If you do them up too tight, you shatter the plastic, so not crazy tight. There we go, just tight enough so it's not going to move. There we go, now 5 more to go. There we go. So our brackets are now on. We just need to cut our guttering size and put them on. And like I said on this side, I'm going to do something slightly different. The person wanted shelves, so I'll probably do 3 shelves again because that looks about right. Yeah, just need to work out how to do those, but obviously you won't need to do that, you'll just need to repeat that side. This was a bit of a win, I needed a win. So for the side that I'm going to put the shelves on, I just raided my offcut bin, and these are the offcuts from here. And obviously they're the same angle, so it'll be perfect, and then just put a shelf on the top there. So hopefully you get the idea now. So this shelf's going to fit on there. Thinking out loud, what I'm going to do is put probably a back stop in there. Otherwise, if the children are playing with it, things are going to fall down the back quite a lot, which is fine because they can get in from the side. But I think just a little lip on the back there should be golden. There we go. So all I've done is screw some 6x1 onto those uprights like so. And now I'm a bit worried about if the children are playing, things falling down the back. So all I'm going to do, put a 3x1 bit of timber along the back, then it'll stop, and I think that'll sort of fit nicely with the angles. I did think if you wanted to do doing this at home, not for a school, this would be really nice for plant pots, little pots, etc. So you could have one side things growing in the guttering, and the other side some plant pots. And here we go. After sanding it all down, here we have the final product. So overall it's about 1.2 meters long, 80 centimeters wide, and about 1.2 meters tall. But again, you can make it to your own specifications. These are just sort of sizes that fitted my needs.